This is the primary reason so many individuals end up feeling let down in their efforts to manifest. They're diligently following all the recommended steps. They're meditating regularly, journaling their intentions, scripting out their ideal scenarios, and engaging in detailed visualizations, yet the outcomes they seek remain just out of reach. Why does this happen? It's because their cognitive processes and emotional undercurrents aren't in sync. They're trying to bring things into being through mental effort alone, while their physical body is still radiating signals of fear, feelings of not being good enough, or a survival-based mindset rooted in anxiety. The result is a mixed bag of signals being sent out, leading to confusion, and the quantum field faithfully echoes that disarray back into their experiences. If any of this strikes a chord with you, and you're eager to escape these recurring cycles, go ahead and show your support by liking this content and subscribing for additional insights into quantum principles that deliver real results. This is the point where real change takes hold. When your mental thoughts, your heartfelt emotions, and your outward behaviors all convey a unified message, the field is compelled to reflect that harmony back into your life. This unified state is referred to as coherence. In coherence, your vibrational frequency grows stable, gains strength, and becomes magnetically appealing. That's the moment when your reality starts to rearrange itself to match. Let me offer another way to look at it. Desiring something without aligning your core identity to it leads to disorder and inconsistency. However, when your sense of self merges seamlessly with your aspirations, your emitted signal becomes crystal clear. And remember, the field doesn't react to mere wanting. It responds to a deep-seated knowing. So how do we cultivate and embody that knowing, particularly in the absence of any confirming signs from the outside world? You create that validation from the inside out. You begin to carry yourself as the embodiment of the person who already possesses the reality you've been picturing. You cease waiting for a sense of achievement to arrive, and instead start walking, talking, and acting like someone who is already fulfilled. This isn't about faking it. It's about reclaiming the true essence of who you are beneath layers of doubt and hesitation. The renowned teacher Neville Goddard termed this approach as living in the state of the wish fulfilled. Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it in terms of forging fresh neural connections in both your brain and body. Greg Braden speaks of it as achieving coherence between the heart and brain. Regardless of the terminology, the underlying idea stays the same across these perspectives. You shift from endlessly trying to evolve into something new, and instead choose to simply be that person right now. This is the specific quantum frequency we're examining in depth. It's not a distant goal to chase after. It's a conscious choice you make over and over, until your nervous system adjusts accordingly, until your self-talk no longer sabotages your progress, until this way of being becomes so ingrained that you forget what it was like to live in a state of restriction. Yes, embracing this requires courage, because adopting this elevated version of yourself prior to any visible changes in your circumstances can feel lonely, bewildering, and even inauthentic at the start. But that's merely your outdated sense of self trying to cling to its dominance within your energetic framework. Acknowledge its presence, observe it without judgment, but refuse to let it dictate your path. You are now the originator of the signal. You establish yourself as the central point of reference. You initiate the transformation, rather than passively waiting for it to happen to you. You embody the reality itself. This process isn't centered on fabricating artificial confidence. It's focused on uncovering the vibrational frequency of already being and functioning from that place consistently. It's about acclimating your entire system to feel at ease in the domain of abundance and sufficiency. Because once your subconscious mind registers a sense of safety, your overall energy field broadens and amplifies. And as your energy expands, in this way, the quantum field inevitably reacts in kind. So if you've been finding yourself in a constant battle, exerting force, or stuck in endless loops, it's time to abandon that exhausting method. Your purpose isn't to labor more intensely, to achieve your visions. Your role is to acknowledge that the aspect of you who already inhabits those visions isn't far away at all. It's simply resonating at a more balanced frequency, a more fully integrated one. And that version of you already knows intuitively how to navigate life, how to interact with others, how to make decisions, and how to experience emotions as if everything is whole and complete, because from their vantage point, it truly is. Let's embark on the journey to uncover and connect with that aspect of yourself. We've now reached a pivotal idea that the majority of people tend to misconstrue, and it's the space where authentic evolution truly unfolds. The practice of embodying, as if. These three simple words have been misinterpreted, reduced to basics, and sometimes even mocked or dismissed. On a surface level, they can appear like mere role-playing, like straining to put on a facade, like donning a disguise in hopes that the universe will buy into the performance. But in reality, embodying as if it's already yours isn't about pretense at all. It's a deliberate method of conditioning your frequency. When you embody the state of as if your desires are already manifested, you're aligning your physical presence with the intended energetic broadcast before the external world offers any approval or proof. You're not holding out for supporting evidence to appear. You're actively generating that evidence through your being. By engaging in this, you're sending out a precise, unwavering message to the quantum field. I'm ready for this. I've integrated it fully. Now mirror it back to me in tangible ways. This isn't an easy undertaking, because your current environment may still be displaying remnants of your former self. Your financial situation might continue to indicate scarcity. Your relationships could still echo past patterns that no longer serve you. Nevertheless, you're called upon to function from this fresh frequency, irrespective of those appearances. Why is this necessary? Because this is the mechanism by which pure energy condenses into physical matter, not by passively waiting for change, but by transforming your core identity. So how can you begin to apply this in your life? Start with small, manageable steps. There's no need to overhaul your whole world overnight. What matters is altering the way you engage with your existing life, the manner in which you talk about yourself, the posture and carriage of your body, the way you respond when positive events unfold. Do you fully welcome and integrate those good moments, or do you question their validity and push them away? Every one of these seemingly minor behaviors sends a signal to the field about what you truly believe you deserve. If you were already immersed in your most elevated reality, how would you approach the start of your day? What clothing would you select, even if no one else would see you? How would your breathing patterns change? How would you care for your body through nutrition and movement? How would you express your thoughts and feelings? This goes beyond superficial appearances. It's fundamentally about cultivating a powerful, energetic aura. Would you continue to shrink your presence in certain settings? Would you keep offering apologies for simply being true to yourself? Would you persist in overriding your intuition just to avoid conflict? Or would you begin making choices rooted in profound self-trust, like an individual who no longer needs to acquire things because they've already evolved into the person who inherently has them? You see, once you alter your emitted signal, all elements linked to you start to realign accordingly. This is why some describe this as a quantum leap in transformation. Your decisions, no matter how understated they seem, act like pebbles tossed into a pond, creating ripples that extend far beyond your immediate perception. You've been repeatedly forming vivid mental images in your mind, time after time. You close your eyelids, immerse yourself in the associated emotions, envision the version of yourself in the future that you aspire to be, and yet, the world around you remains unchanged. Or maybe there's a fleeting alteration, a momentary peek into what could be, a subtle adjustment in circumstances, a tiny affirmation that something is shifting, and then, before you know it, you're right back in the same repetitive loop. The identical thought processes dominate your mind, and the same situations keep presenting themselves in your daily life. If you've ever found yourself pondering why your internal visualizations feel so incredibly powerful and full of potential, yet they consistently fail to translate into tangible changes in your external reality, let me share the real explanation with you. Simply creating mental pictures isn't what shapes your existence. Instead, It's the level of your energetic vibration that truly determines what manifests. There's a crucial difference that needs to be highlighted between merely daydreaming about what lies ahead and actively emitting that particular energy into the universe, between just imagining the things you want and evolving into the individual who effortlessly lives that desired lifestyle within the vast expanse of the quantum domain. The act of visualization is really only a single component in a much more intricate and comprehensive framework. The genuine key to unlocking this process, the vital aspect that's often overlooked, resides in the quality of your vibrational essence. And whenever that vibrational essence fails to harmonize with the specific reality you're aiming to draw into your experience, it will always elude you, no matter how vividly or detailed your mental images might be. You've likely been instructed to make requests to the universe, to have faith in the process, and to open yourself up to receiving. But allow me to explain what's truly occurring beneath the surface. The quantum field doesn't operate based on polite requests or verbal pleas. It reacts to perfect synchronization, to genuine energetic truthfulness, to the unique signal that you are constantly radiating from your core. This isn't about the temporary energy you might generate during a focused meditation practice, but rather the ongoing frequency that permeates your breath, influences your everyday choices, and colors your prevailing emotional landscape. The reason for this is that the vast cosmos isn't tuning into the words you speak aloud or the affirmations you repeat. It's attuned to the very core of your existence, reading the subtle nuances of your being. This forms the foundational truth of how manifestation works. And once you truly internalize this understanding, once you appreciate the subtle and profound nature of this inner shift, your entire perspective begins to evolve. This change doesn't come from pushing yourself harder or forcing yourself to think more optimistically all the time. Instead, it arises because you let go of the constant chase. You abandon the habit of begging for what you want. You discontinue the pattern of perpetuating the idea that your dream life is out there, somewhere in the distant future, separate from your current moment. In its place, you start treating it as an accessible energetic condition that you can step into right here and now. This particular energetic condition, the one that unlocks the pathway to the existence you've been mentally constructing, is far from abstract or theoretical. It's concrete in its vibrational nature. It possesses a unique characteristic marked by steadfast assurance and a smooth, uninterrupted flow of energy. It doesn't rush forward impatiently. It doesn't pine longingly for what's missing. It doesn't second-guess the unfolding timeline. It simply knows with absolute certainty. Because when you function from the perspective of an individual who has already brought their aspirations into being, the quantum field has no option but to mirror that back to you in physical form. So you might be asking yourself why this inner evolution feels so difficult to achieve. Why is it straightforward to conjure up beautiful scenarios in your imagination, but so hard to sustain the sensation that it's already yours to claim? The answer lies in the fact that your whole life, up to this point, has programmed you to resonate at the level of one day or someday. Society and your experiences have conditioned you to postpone fulfillment, to strive endlessly to prove your deservingness, to prepare incessantly as if you must earn your right to happiness. And now, possibly for the very first time in your journey, you're being encouraged to shed all that ingrained conditioning and just step into being what once seemed like an unattainable fantasy. At the beginning, this might feel strange or unnatural. It could even come across as if you're fooling yourself or putting on an act. But that's only because your physical nervous system hasn't yet fully aligned with the deeper reality of who you are at your essence. The truth is, this elevated frequency we're stepping into isn't something alien to your soul. It's merely unfamiliar to your bodily sensations and habits. A key element of this journey involves retraining your physical form to acknowledge and embrace what your spirit has inherently known all along. You're not chasing after your predetermined path. You're rediscovering the innate link you have to it. You could be thinking to yourself, but how can I possibly sustain that elevated frequency when my outer world shows no signs of changing yet? Let me provide the straightforward response. You must initiate the transformation from within first. You make the conscious decision that your internal energy takes the lead, and the material evidence will catch up in due time. You shift your focus away from dwelling on what's lacking in your life to appreciating and amplifying what's already abundant and positive. As you commit to this practice on a regular basis, a fresh energetic pattern takes root within you. This new pattern is resilient and doesn't falter when faced with difficulties. It doesn't dissipate during times of chaos or overwhelm. Over time, it evolves into your standard way of being. And that's precisely when the quantum field starts aligning itself with your direction, not because you forced it through demands, but because you've achieved true resonance with its principles. This is the essence of what we'll delve into during this discussion. We're not merely touching on the idea of manifestation in a superficial way. We're examining the precise vibrational frequency that grants you entry to the existence you've been holding in your mind's eye. We'll explore the methods for moving away from a mindset rooted in lack and scarcity toward one steeped in abundance and satisfaction. We'll cover how to truly embody the as-if state without it feeling like pretense or fakery. We'll guide you on living your life as though your desires are already realized, not as a way to trick or persuade the universe, but because you're now operating in full accordance with the universal laws that govern reality. The reason this matters is that there is indeed a structured approach, a distinct energetic blueprint. Once you learn to tune into it effectively, every aspect of your surroundings starts to react in an organic, potent, and dependable manner. Are you ready to reconnect with the sensation of vibrationally aligning with the existence you've always pictured for yourself? If so, then let's dive right in. Allow me to make something absolutely essential clear from the outset. The quantum field isn't interested in your lists of wants or desires. It simply echoes back the essence of who you're choosing to be in each moment. It doesn't scrutinize your vision boards filled with images. It doesn't judge the ambitions you've set or count up the number of uplifting affirmations you've recited. It purely replicates the vibrational signal you're emitting continuously. And that signal doesn't stem from your hopes or goals alone. It arises from your fundamental sense of identity. This isn't referring to the self-image you describe to others in conversation, but the one you embody through your actions and presence. It's the identity that dictates how you step into rooms, how you manage moments of solitude, and how you conduct yourself when you believe no one is watching. Because within the quantum domain, your reality isn't an external prize to be won or acquired through effort. It's an internal creation that emerges from your deepest being. So what does this translate to in everyday terms? It implies that if you mentally picture financial abundance but go about your life gripped by fear around spending or money matters, your energetic field picks up on that underlying anxiety and reflects it back. If you dream of deep romantic love but habitually push away compliments or shy from genuine intimacy, your field senses that emotional retreat and mirrors it. If you aspire to personal expansion but continually describe your situation as one where you're stuck or helpless, your field takes that story as truth and perpetuates it. The field doesn't concern itself with your lofty dreams. It evaluates the consistency within your inner world. Instead of constantly wondering, when is this going to show up in my life? Shift your inquiry to, how would I conduct myself today if I were certain it had already manifested? This is the turning point where your behaviors transition from being mere responses to external stimuli into becoming powerfully attractive forces. When your spoken words, your energetic vibe, and your overall demeanor all synchronize with the reality you've been mentally crafting, you stop exerting effort to pull things toward you. You're simply being the version of yourself that's already in perfect tune with it. But here's an aspect of this embodiment journey that most individuals fail to grasp. It's not about attaining flawless execution every time. It's about unwavering commitment and repetition. Your nervous system has been wired to run the same scripts for years, perhaps even spanning decades. It's at home in states of limitation, well acquainted with hardship, and habituated to the vibration of insufficiency. Therefore, when you commence broadcasting a novel signal, Your body may put up resistance at first. This isn't a sign of defeat. It's a phase of readjustment. Imagine it akin to adjusting a radio dial. When you're positioned between two stations, all you hear is static and noise. That interference doesn't mean the clear broadcast doesn't exist. It's evidence that you're in the midst of locating it precisely. Your path to manifestation operates similarly. Those instances of uncertainty, those periods when familiar habits reemerge, those times when you realize you've reverted to thoughts of lack, these are integral to the fine-tuning stage. The essential technique here is what I refer to as frequency anchoring. Whenever you become aware that you're functioning from the outdated vibration, you encounter a decision juncture. Rather than criticizing yourself or succumbing to irritation, you gently steer back on course. You pose questions like, what thoughts would the me who already possesses this be entertaining at this moment? How would they be experiencing emotions? What step would they take next? Then, you opt for that path, even if it's only for the upcoming few minutes. These tiny acts of redirection hold immense power because they're reshaping your brain's wiring to favor the new vibration as the default. Insights from neuroscience demonstrate that our brains are perpetually reorganizing based on the patterns of thoughts and actions we repeat. Each instance where you select the higher response instead of the ingrained one, you're constructing fresh neural circuits that bolster the reality you wish to create. But there's an additional dimension to this that ties straight into the principles of quantum physics. As you repeatedly choose aligned thoughts and behaviors with your envisioned reality, you're not solely modifying your brain. You're altering your personal electromagnetic field. The heart produces an electromagnetic field that's exponentially stronger, about 60 times in amplitude compared to the brain's, and it can be sensed from several feet away. When your heart and brain achieve coherence, operating in unison, this field amplifies to extraordinary levels. Studies conducted by the HeartMath Institute reveal that in states of heart coherence, where your feelings align with uplifting mental states, you exert a direct influence on the surrounding quantum field. You transform into what's known as a coherent broadcaster. This signifies that you're not merely picturing your wants. You're radiating them via your complete electromagnetic structure. And here's something truly astonishing. The field starts to reciprocate. Individuals begin relating to you in novel ways. Innovative ideas spring forth unexpectedly. Coincidences and synchronicities materialize, not due to the universe arbitrarily selecting you, but because your signal has grown robust enough to pierce through any distortions. You've ceased scattering your energy into vague futures and commenced embodying the present moment fully. This is the essence of coherence. This is the authentic mechanism behind manifestation. It doesn't involve begging, detailed scripting, or increased exertion. It's achieved by becoming the very signal that your future self is already emitting. Of course, your mind will try to interject with doubts. It might argue, but we haven't achieved that yet. It could challenge, isn't this unrealistic? That's just your past narrative striving to preserve your constraints. Acknowledge its voice, then proceed undeterred. Because this isn't aimed at persuading others. It's about conditioning your field to embrace what your soul has always innately known. So for today, articulate one affirmation as if it's already a done deal. Execute one choice as if you're already in that state. Perform one deed as if it's unequivocally yours. Because the more frequently you act in accordance with it, being yours, the more the field acknowledges and accepts you. And once the field accepts you, your reality recalibrates to align with your broadcast. There come phases in your manifestation path where it appears as though progress has halted entirely. You've invested in the inner development. You've balanced your energetic output. You've relinquished the pursuit. Yet no substantial alterations seem to be materializing. However, on a profound level, you sense that a shift has occurred. Your mental chatter has quieted. Your nervous system exudes greater stability. You start to observe minor changes in your reactions to everyday occurrences. And then, it happens. A sequence of digits starts appearing organically in your awareness. 3 numbers that seem to follow you persistently across various contexts. on digital displays, timepieces, transaction slips, and more. It's 777. You could spot it and brush it off as mere coincidence. But a deeper aspect of you, the one that's become more attuned and receptive, recognizes that it's far from arbitrary. It's a form of dialogue, a soft nudge of activation, a vibrational go you weren't actively hunting for a omen. And that's exactly why it presented itself. The field doesn't answer to frantic pleas, it replies to balanced resonance. And 777 emerges only when your energetic field has reached a sufficient depth of alignment for the quantum to echo back. It's not announcing that your manifestation is on its way. It's affirming that you've attained vibrational compatibility with what's been orbiting you all along. The energetic groundwork you've laid, sometimes through intentional practices, other times via serene acceptance, is now oscillating at the precise level required for manifestation. In ancient mystical traditions, the numeral 7 carries profound significance. It's linked to higher wisdom from the divine instinctual insight and profound inner knowledge. When it repeats thrice, it transcends basic numerical symbolism. It evolves into a vibrational marker of unity, not of absolute perfection, but of true synchronization. It signals that your cognitive processes, your deeds, and your feelings are no longer in conflict. You're no longer striving to manifest from a physical vessel that doubts its worthiness. You're no longer imagining with your intellect while your heart emits signals of doubt. You've attained a level of harmony, perhaps not flawlessly, but reliably enough to alter your trajectory in time. From a quantum viewpoint, 777 surfaces when the wave function of possibilities nears its point of resolution. You're still navigating the realm of infinite potentials, but your broadcast is pulling reality toward a specific outcome, the one you've been fine-tuning through steady emotions and personal growth. The field has identified you, not via spoken words, but through your vibrational signature. And this numeral isn't a reward handed out, it's a resonant reflection. It shows up not to bestow something upon you, but to echo what you've already integrated within. Now, let me disclose something that could catch you off guard regarding these meaningful numerical patterns. They're not haphazard events or mere flukes. They're proof of a concept scientists term morphic resonance, the notion that upon reaching a particular coherence threshold, you start vibrating in tune with informational fields that transcend conventional space-time boundaries. When 777 keeps appearing, you're encountering what quantum experts describe as non-local entanglement. Your awareness has aligned to such an extent that you're quantumly linked with the informational essence matching your aspired reality. The number acts as a connector between your present circumstances and the existence you're evolving toward. But here's where it becomes even more captivating. The emergence of 777 frequently aligns with what I term reality-merging junctures. These are instances when various timelines or potential paths are converging. In the realm of quantum mechanics, we're aware that every conceivable reality coexists in parallel, as per the many worlds theory. Spotting 777 means you're nearing a merging juncture where your consciousness is poised to resolve into the timeline that resonates with your maintained vibration. This explains why the time frame right after these alignments is so vital. Numerous people notice the signs and then subconsciously ease off their discipline. They view 777 as authorization to cease the internal efforts. But in truth, it's a call to heighten your concentration. You're standing at the doorway. The probabilistic wave is on the verge of resolution. This is the phase where your dedication to upholding the vibration matters most. In quantum physics, there's a process known as quantum tunneling, where subatomic particles traverse energy obstacles that traditional physics deems impassable. When 777 is appearing, you're undergoing a form of consciousness tunneling. Your perception is penetrating the divide between your existing reality and the one you seek. The crucial element is sustaining your vibrational condition throughout this tunneling. In this stage, you may encounter what feels like pushback from your surroundings. Outdated behaviors could amplify before fading away. Sudden hurdles might arise. This isn't the cosmos putting you through trials. It's the former, reality framework restructuring to fit your emerging frequency. It's comparable to remodeling a home while residing in it. There's short-term disorder, but it serves the overall renewal. And here's an aspect that many fail to appreciate. They see 777 as a cue to unwind, to disengage, to assume everything is handled. But this juncture isn't for premature relaxation. It's for rooting yourself more profoundly. It's an entryway. Your task isn't to rejoice ahead of time or slip into inactivity. It's to preserve the broadcast, remain in the stream, permit the field to keep aligning without interruptions. You've heard that manifestations can burst forth abruptly, but in the quantum sphere, nothing transpires instantaneously. What seems sudden in the material realm was built incrementally in the invisible dimensions. 777 marks the pivotal shift, the fragile equilibrium between desire and assurance, the zone where your reality ceases approaching you. Instead, it's solidifying around your presence. Yet 777 signifies more than mere validation of synchronization. It's also a prompt to enhance your mindfulness, to abandon the hunt and commence full embodiment, to tune into your body's sensations in this instant and inquire, is this the way the me who inhabits that reality would experience things? Would they rush ahead? Would they harbor doubts? Or would they place faith in the groundwork building unseen? Because that's the core of what this represents, a foundational evolution. You're not bringing a specific outcome into being. You're reconfiguring the essence of your identity, how you process thoughts, experience feelings, navigate physically, articulate ideas, select paths. The field reacts to that transformed self. And the number isn't forecasting future events. It's endorsing what's already here in the now. And if you feel this not only on a mental level, but vibrationally, if an inner part of you senses this message as impeccably timed, precise, and genuine, then take a deep breath and allow your being to integrate it. Permit your nervous system to find security in this affirmation. Allow your heart to expand in acceptance of the realization that you're no longer in the process of aligning. You are aligned. The transformation isn't impending, it's taking hold. What you've pictured isn't a distant illusion to chase. It's a vibration you've now tapped into. And if you'd like to render that harmony concrete, not solely for yourself, but within the shared energetic space of all who encounter this, then leave a comment with 777 below. Not as a superstitious ritual, but as a declaration, a subtle affirmation of, I feel it, I remember it, I'm in alignment. At times, numbers are indeed just digits without deeper meaning, but occasionally they're a mode of interaction, a mirror, a blueprint, a reality you're now ready to fully integrate. Perhaps no one has pointed this out to you before, but manifestation isn't truly about the art of acquiring what you crave. It's about the art of recollecting your authentic essence, and every vibrational level you've strived to reach, whether it's wealth, serenity, purpose, or intimacy, already dwells within that recollection. It's not something outside of you that demands earning through merit. It's inherent, awaiting stabilization within your being. The fact is, you've already tasted it in the past. You've encountered brief episodes of alignment, sudden bursts where everything felt right without explanation, instances when time appeared to pause, and you were enveloped in total tranquility for no apparent cause. Moments when your heart expanded without prompt, when the ideal expressions flowed effortlessly, when you decided from a profound inner source. Those weren't accidents. They were previews of the self you're cultivating more steadily, and the existence that self inherently attracts. Quantum. Manifestation isn't centered on compelling those episodes to happen more frequently. It's about broadening your capacity to linger in them, to establish those conditions as your baseline, to evolve into someone who no longer requires visualization because you're already vibrating in harmony with what you once dreamed. And this evolution won't manifest overnight, but you will discern it through the understated ways your life starts to reply. A dialogue that flows with exceptional ease, a feeling of internal calm despite outer turmoil, a decision reached without prolonged deliberation. These are the markers that your broadcast is firming up, that you're no longer extending toward the field. You're fused with it, intertwined, emitting a vibration that refuses to settle for your former constraints. And this is significant because the prior self will still voice its opinions. It'll claim, "You're not ready yet. Who are you kidding? You require proof beforehand." It'll lure you back to familiarity. And with each notice, you'll confront a decision. Do I reenact the outdated tale once more, or do I sustain the fresh one for a bit longer? This is the stage where grasping the dynamics of self-transformation grows essential. Your sense of self isn't merely an assortment of ideas about who you are. It's a vibrational architecture that affects every cellular level of your being. When you function from a restricted self for extended periods, your whole physiological setup has arranged itself to uphold that vibration. Your neural pathways, hormonal balance, defense mechanisms, they've all been tuned to reinforce the previous you. Thus, when you commence integrating a novel self, your body might initially protest. You could face what experts label as upper limit issues, where advancement or favorable shifts feel uneasy since they clash with your established baseline. This is genuinely a positive indicator. It shows you're extending past your familiar territory and forging new brain connections. But here's the vital realization. You don't need to hold off until your body acclimates comfortably to the novel self. In reality, awaiting ease might prevent any real change. Instead, you cultivate ease amid the unease. You understand that the fleeting discomfort signals expansion, your nervous system elevating to accommodate a superior vibration. There's a technique I term identity bridging that can hasten this progression. Rather than attempting a direct jump from your present self to the ideal one in one go, you craft transitional selves that act as gradual steps. For instance, if you're dealing with money struggles but aim to integrate abundance, you could initially adopt the self of someone actively learning to welcome abundance or developing financial awareness. This allows your nervous system a phased adjustment. Each transitional self comes with its unique mindset, emotions, and habits. You rehearse embodying these interim states until they become second nature. Then you advance to the subsequent one. This mitigates the abrupt shock that might lead to undermining behaviors and renders the shift more natural and enduring. The intriguing part of this method is how it parallels quantum particle behavior. In quantum theory, particles don't transition energy levels linearly. They execute quantum jumps via fleeting virtual states. Your awareness shifts analogously through provisional self-states that span the divide between your past and future selves. That's the locus of your genuine strength at this moment, not in the intensity of your actions or the speed of your progress, but in the steadiness with which you can dwell in the vibration of already mine. Not to dazzle anyone, not to coerce the field, but because this is your true nature emerging. You're no longer hunting for validations, you're transforming into one. You're not enacting deservingness, you're living it, and the cosmos doesn't need persuasion, it merely echoes back. This embodies the true art of manifestation. Not compelling the world to bend to your wants, but tuning your internal condition so accurately that the world replicates you down to the finest details. Not because you're dominating physicality, but because you've dissolved barriers. You've purified your broadcast. You've cleared the noise separating your supreme self from your present lived experience. And when this takes place, an unforeseen quality arises. Tranquility. Not exhilaration, not haste, but deep tranquility. Because you come to understand you're no longer in pursuit of anything. You're allowing it to flow. You're welcoming it. You're observing your personal energy cycling back as connections, prospects, insights, and benevolence. This tranquil state serves as a potent catalyst for manifestation that many disregard. In tranquility, your neural oscillations naturally transition to what brain researchers call the alpha-theta junction, spanning 7 to 14 Hz, where your aware and unaware minds commence harmonizing. In this mode, Your subconscious grows highly open to fresh imprints, and your conscious awareness heightens to faint cues from the quantum realm. But tranquility isn't inert. It's a dynamic condition of permission that demands significant internal fortitude. In a society that links exertion to achievements, mastering manifestation via tranquility can seem illogical. We've been taught to believe we must thrust, labor, and compel results. Yet quantum manifestation follows wholly distinct rules. Envision it like tending a garden. You sow the kernels, supply optimal settings, and then you let the natural processes unfold. You don't excavate the kernels daily to monitor growth. You don't attempt to accelerate their sprouting. You rely on the cycle and sustain the growth environment. Manifestation parallels this. You implant the vibrational kernel via your cognitions and sentiments, uphold the vibration through yourself and deeds, and then you permit the quantum realm to materialize it. This permissive state is where wonders turn routine. When you're not clutching rigidly to results, when you're not frantically seeking to dictate the manner and timing of manifestations, you open room for the cosmos to provide in manners surpassing your visions. Occasionally, the emerging reality outshines your initial conceptions because you didn't constrain the field with rigid notions of unfolding. Here's a lovely contradiction. The lesser your attachment to the manifestation's arrival, the swifter it often materializes. This isn't the cosmos toying with you. It's because attachment stems from scarcity, clashing with the creation you're pursuing. When you cradle your aspiration gently, with gratitude over urgency, you sustain the vibration of possession. No shift is more profound than this, and the more you revisit it persistently, the more your nervous system accepts it's secure to reside here. Not merely visit this vibration, but dwell in it, to render this harmony your innate condition. Not because existence is impeccable, but because your unity no longer hinges on outer factors. You've merged with the field. You've cultivated trust in it, and it reciprocates that trust. So inhale deeply at this very instant. Permit yourself to fully assimilate all this. Let it weave into your essence, not as novel data, but as reclaimed knowledge. Sense your energy grounding into the recognition that you've already evolved. You're not awaiting the quantum leap. You embody the quantum leap. And if an element of this inquiry encountered you at the exact opportune time, if it assisted in linking fragment that hovered just out of grasp, then maybe this transcends mere material. Perhaps it's a reflection, an echo of your emerging self, a nudge that the vibration you've envisioned isn't hypothetical. It's tangible in its essence, and you're now inhabiting it. If that strikes true, if it resonates vibrationally, then I encourage you to remain linked to this arena, to subscribe, not from duty but because it aligns. Because this isn't merely a platform, it's a vibrational space. And if you noticed your respiration altering during this engagement, you're already immersed. We're not simply ingesting material here. We're enacting fresh existences. We're not just taking in. We're resolving potentials into substance. We're not merely learning. We're recollecting. And I'm thankful for your presence in this now. Now, the more profound reality about why most folks grapple with quantum manifestation, even upon grasping these tenets, rests in an aspect most instructors seldom tackle. There's a particular observer, influence that promptly alters your reality upon mastering it, and I disclose precisely its operation in this subsequent video.